Hey everybody, it's Cory from CoryBakerFilmmaker.com, and I just saw Last Christmas. Story by Emma Thompson and Greg Weiss, and screenplay by Emma Thompson and Bryony Kimmings, and directed by Paul Feig. So caught this at a new theater, went down to the AMC Marina, which is a dine-in AMC. So it's sort of like the Alamo Draft House or the Studio Movie Grill that I've gone to before, where you can they bring the food and drink right to you at your seat. And it was very nice. I really enjoyed it. The traffic to get there wasn't so bad. It was pretty much the same as like going to Burbank or Universal or something like that. And at the end, the food was incredible. I thought for like sort of this movie theater concept, a little bit expensive. Not gonna lie, a little bit more than I would like to pay for like a burger, but it was worth it overall if you're thinking that I'm gonna go out to dinner and then the movie and probably spend $50 on the dinner. Like it sort of equals out in a way, especially if you're thinking of it as like a date night type of stuff. Onto the plot. Emilia Clarke plays Kate or Katerina. She is an immigrant to England, but has been living there for most of her adult life. And she is really selfish and horrible and doesn't think about other people. And somewhere along the way, a mysterious gentleman starts visiting her at her store, which is like a Christmas store, and she's dressed like an elf. And things start turning around for her once she meets him. Up front, I wouldn't call this movie good. Like, it's not a Oscar contender. Like, it's just not on that scale, and it's not trying to be. So it's sort of like a completely different thing. It's a lot of fun though, and it's cute, and I really enjoy. If Paul Feig has a foot up on other directors, it's the fact that he is so good at making characters and actors specifically feel very loose and comfortable in the performance, and like everyone feels like they're friends and they're getting along, and like the chemistry specifically between Emilia Clarke and Henry Golding was just like aces. Like they nailed that perfectly. I'll say this: I never really had much Emilia Clarke experience. I didn't watch Game of Thrones. It wasn't like my thing. But I saw that really awful Terminator movie she was in, and she was fine, I guess. In that there wasn't really anything that, like, thinking back about it now, that I felt like, like, oh my god, this is the next big star. But I know that people who have been watching her on Game of Thrones for all these seasons have a completely different take on that than I do. Henry Golding and Michelle Yeoh, who was both in Crazy Rich Asians, are in this movie as well. They're both great. Michelle plays Santa. She later admits that she changes her name based off of the job that which she's working at, to make it easier for the English speaking customers. So when she was working at a bakery, she was Cookie, for instance. And now that she owns the Christmas store, she's Santa. Yeah, I mean, like, it's really wonderful. Like, it all feels lived in. All these characters feel like they really have known each other for a long time. Like, especially the family dynamics with, like, Emma Thompson as the mother. All of it feels very, very lived in. And that is a tip of the cap to Paul Feig. Like, literally every time he does a movie, he's really good at just making these, like, interpersonal relationships feel more grounded and real. What I really like and appreciate about this movie is that romantic comedies like this have really died off. And it seems that, more specifically, the adult romantic comedy is almost gone. There's a market right now in sort of these Netflix teenage romantic comedies, but it's not quite the same as what we used to get in theaters on a regular basis. And I mean, mostly just because they aren't making money. They're not the same, like you can't make the same sort of investment into a rom-com and get money back like you would if you did a Marvel movie. It's just not in the same universe. So we're at this place where every so often we get an adult romantic comedy, and I think this is exactly what people would expect, like the level of competency that people expect from a romantic comedy. Romantic comedies don't need to have incredible visuals or anything like that. It just really lives on how good is the cast and how well do they work together. What kind of chemistry are we working with? Are the supporting characters like sort of like bringing the whole thing together? And I think it succeeds in that. I would say that the fact that it is so much like the romantic comedies of old sort of make it feel a little bit more dated. Like it felt a little bit like the type of movie that I would see in the 90s as far as a romantic comedy goes. And because it feels dated, it feels like it's of lesser quality. So, I mean, like, it's not that any specific people on this project did, like the cinematography was great, the sound was great, but, it was edited well, all these things are done. But just the way, because of the project itself feeling dated, it sort of feels like, this is just a movie from the 90s that, like was released now and just we never knew that Henry Golding and Emilia Clarke were in it. Like, it just sort of feels like it was just dropped from another era and put here. And because it doesn't do anything new and incredible, it just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't quite sing the way you'd want it to at the end. You don't walk out of this thing going like, oh my God, I'm so glad I saw that. I'm going to tell all my friends. You're saying, that was fun, that was cute. And you probably don't think about it that much again. I would, if I'm looking for, if there was an aim for this movie, it should have been more along the lines of a Love Actually, I would think. And I don't say you have to like create this like humongous cast with all these interwoven stories and everything like that, but Love Actually was like a Christmas movie that was able to take advantage of all these charming people and make them the most charming versions of themselves. And it was pulled off well enough that that people still think about it, and like I still want to watch Love Actually when Christmas rolls around. I don't know if I'm going to want to watch Last Christmas, every year when Christmas rolls around. Just a word for Henry Golding. I think that as somebody who has not been trained as an actor, like when he got into Crazy Rich Asians, he was a like sort of a talk show host kind of person, like a personality more, and hadn't done much like specific acting work from what I recall. And in this movie, he does a great job of being smooth and effortless. There are some, like, just noticeably, he needs more reps than other people who he's acting with. Like, it just feels like it comes easier to Emilia Clarke to find these things. And it feels a little bit more like there was a process involved with Henry Golding finding these things. It doesn't impact the way that you watch the movie. It's just very subtly small. And it's the type of thing that you would think that if it was somebody other than Henry Golding, there could have been a completely different feel to the movie, but I enjoyed what I got from him. So in a low-stakes movie like this, I'm glad that he's getting more reps and more opportunity, because he's really charming and really, really wonderful. And I think that there's a possibility that there are bigger and brighter things for him ahead, especially with a Crazy Rich Asians sequel, I think, on its way. So he's going to have another opportunity to have like a big, huge movie again. But just, I don't want to say he's going to be like some fantastic actor that gets nominated for all kinds of awards, but I think that he's going to be somebody that's very interesting to watch. And sometimes that's more important than the hardware, per se. On the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me the leaderboard. This is the first time that I've seen a movie at the AMC Marina 6 dine-in. Very enjoyable. Will do again. Looking forward to it. Again, prices could be a little bit more reasonable, but it's sort of what you expect when you're buying a burger in a movie theater. Moving on to the leaderboard. This one's tough. Because there's a part of me that I've done like Fast and the Furious scales for comedies before, but I don't really feel like this movie gets swayed that much by sort of giving it an adjusted score to make you understand how it feels. I think that just generally speaking, we have a lower, what is acceptable as far as a score for a movie like a romantic comedy is much more broad than it would be a movie that's trying to win awards fair. Much like, if you went to go see a cartoon with your cousins, it could be a 6 on a scale, and you could say, oh, for a cartoon, that's really good. That's part of the sliding scale of acceptability I'm willing to take from a cartoon, just because it's harder to live up to the same sort of standards as something that is built to try and be the best possible version of the thing that it can be. That being said, I would give Last Christmas a 6.6. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself. Don't know if I would see it again. Definitely interested in getting more of everyone who was involved in this movie. Like, this shouldn't be the end of anyone's careers. It's a perfectly fine, cute movie. It's Emilia Clarke, Henry Golding, Michelle Yeoh. They're all really fantastic in it. Emma Thompson is a guiding light in a otherwise dark and murky landscape sometimes. Not in this movie, just I'm saying in general, like as a wonderful person and a incredible actress. It just doesn't quite come together the way you want it to. This movie could have been better. The happenstance of how things happen didn't allow it to be its best possible version. But that's not its fault, and that's not a problem because it's a very fine movie either way. If you want more of me, you can go to my website, CoryBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/CoryBakerFilm, or at LegendCB5 on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. If you want me to go check out a movie, leave a comment below, or social media, or do whatever you got to do. There are a lot more things that I want to see coming up here, and hopefully I will get a chance to do reviews on those as well. We're getting thick into award season, so we're going to start seeing a lot of the best movies of the year all lined up here. I still have to see The Irishman. Something tells me this is just going to end up being a Netflix thing. But, we got Marriage Story and a whole bunch of other great things coming down the pike. So I look forward to seeing those and telling you all about it. In the meantime, like the video, subscribe, share, do all that sort of stuff. And yeah, that's about it. So if you don't mind, I have to go put on my elf costume and demean myself in front of people.